What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including WWE wanting Chris Jericho back, WWE unifying the titles, widespread anger in AEW, Triple H unlikely to use part-timers, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and an on-wrestling channel, Incredible. And now let's see the intro and get straight into our first story. Now, first story looks at WWE wants Chris Jericho back. Atop in today's news is another example of how one tweet can light up the IWC, in this case a tweet from Chris Jericho that has some fans speculating whether he's interested in returning to WWE. As someone tweeted that a Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn and Chris Jericho faction is needed, leading to Jericho tweeting, well, some higher-ups want that to happen sooner than later. #tampering. The tampering hashtag is interesting in light of a previous story of someone from the WWE's talent relations department contacting an AEW wrestler under contract about coming to the WWE. As we mentioned, this normally qualifies as contract tampering, but as we noted, it happens no matter what promotions claim. Whether or not Jericho was just having fun with the tampering hashtag or accusing the WWE of engaging banned business practices, it's a reminder that Jericho is still in demand. However, is Jericho interested in a WWE return? Well, fans suggested two possible opponents for Jericho should he return to the WWE. If ever Chris Jericho is back in WWE, I want him to wrestle against AJ Styles or Kevin Owens. These two matches would be fire. The Wizard tweeted back saying, "They've already happened, multiple times." Jericho then agreed with a fan who tweeted, "Unfortunately, they squandered KO and Jericho's match at Wrestlemania, deserved the main event. It was the best story going at the time." Jericho is a wrestler who constantly reinvents himself and is anything but a nostalgia. His dedication to keeping the fans entertained made it unlikely he would go anywhere that would stifle him creatively, especially after working in AEW where he's been able to work a variety of personas. Do you think Jericho will return to the WWE? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, WWE Unifying Titles. There's big news for fans of NXT and NXT UK as the WWE has announced two title unification bouts will take place on 4th September's World Collide show. By now you've likely heard that NXT UK is being phased out as the WWE plans to launch NXT Europe. In the meantime, they're bringing several NXT UK superstars to NXT and unifying the separate brands' championships. They announced that NXT champion Bron Breakker will battle NXT UK champion Tyler Bate in a unification match, while NXT women's champion Mandy Rose will battle NXT UK women's champion Miko Samura, as well as Blair Davenport in a triple threat unification match. NXT Worlds Collide is being held at the Performance Center and will air the same day as AEW's All Out pay-per-view. It should be noted Worlds Collide will air at 4 PM Eastern and likely will be over before All Out begins. Next up, widespread anger in AEW. Is AEW underutilizing some of its wrestlers? Well, that seems like a no-brainer given the size of AEW's roster and the scarcity of TV time, but is it affecting morale? Former wrestler Conan claims AEW's influx of talent hasn't gone over well as wrestlers have struggled to get booked on a regular basis. Then the last time I was there, bro, you have no idea how many people came up to me and they were just pissed about the booking. They weren't happy how they were being used. They were very vocal about it. AEW announcer Tony Schiavone, who's recently promoted to senior producer and special advisor to talent, recently commented on the rumors of backstage bickering at how they're being used. There are some challenges, as you know, and of course the internet is going to go crazy about this or that. I'm not going to get into it because I'm going to say this right now. Things are not as bad as bullshit people on the internet would say, not even close to it. We've got some things in place now that are going to make us better than ever. The saying, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence, seems to apply here, as disgruntled WWE wrestlers couldn't wait to jump to AEW to get away from the WWE under the Vince McMahon regime. But now it appears that some wrestlers see the WWE under Triple H as the place to go. Now, there's no question that AEW needs more TV time or a smaller roster, but wrestlers should wait and see how things play out in the WWE after Triple H has built his roster, which looked like it could be as big as AEW's if he continues bringing in wrestlers at the current rate. Next up, Triple H unlikely to use part-timers. Well, there's a story going around that Triple H is less likely to use part-timers than Vince McMahon did. Well, let's cut to the chase and note that this story is based off comments Nature Boy Ric Flair recently made on his podcast, as he suggested, Triple H is looking at the big picture totally different than other people do, than other people have. I don't think he's crazy about the part-time performers. That would be my take on it. As he knows, he worked every day until the day he got more involved in the office, especially in a title role, the title picture. This is just me taking a guess. I think he's going to work towards having people who are champions working more dates. Now, it's unknown how Triple H feels about using part-timers, so fans will have to wait and see what happens with part-time champion Roman Reigns at Clash at the Castle. If Roman remains victorious, that should settle the question of part-time champions, as Clash at the Castle will be the ideal venue for the WWE to crown a full-time champion in Drew McIntyre. But as for other part-timers, wrestlers like Goldberg will likely always be in the WWE arsenal, especially if it's for Saudi Arabia shows where megastars are always in high demand but short in supply. Next up, Rey Mysterio talks the end of his wrestling career. Rey Mysterio recently celebrated 20 years in the WWE, but at age 47, how much longer does he see himself competing in the squared circle? The master of the 619 discussed this with Ariel Helwani on the BT Sport, revealing his body is in good shape in light of the many surgeries he's had. It's a little bit over 12 surgeries on my left knee. Right one, knock on wood, is good and intact. Between scopes and cleaning it out and a stretch MCL, PCL, a little bit over 12 surgeries. Mysterio discussed how fortunate he's been in terms of avoiding neck and back injuries. And as for when he plans on retiring, for wrestling I've always heard from others that they just go until they can't anymore. There's really no start and end date. You just run through it until you can't or until you step away to do something else. For me, now that I'm getting closer to my 50s and I see my son wrestling, I tell myself that I want to go 3 more years and I don't want to go past 50. But then I remind myself, what if I feel good? Can you still go another year? As of right now, my date has always been not to go over 50. This isn't the first time Rey has hinted at an imminent retirement only to change his mind. Rey seems to have found new energy thanks to teaming with Dominic, and at this point there's no saying just when Papa Rey will senton off into the sunset. Next up, Triple H happy days are here again. It looks like Triple H's current run as head of WWE Creative and Talent is not only making significant changes to the on-screen product, but to backstage morale, particularly in one area. PW Insider's Mike Johnson is reporting, one department where the change has been described as massively night and day has been inside the company's production end. The new regime of Nick Khan, Paul Levesque and Stephanie McMahon has come with one massive positive. There isn't anyone yelling at the production truck or the announcers anymore since Vince McMahon, who was extremely heavy-handed verbally over the course of TV productions, is no longer there. Fans have heard horror stories of Vinnie Mac tearing up scripts right before shows, or rewriting scripts as the show proceeded, and yelling into announcers' headsets. With Vince McMahon gone, Johnson reports it's a kinda gentler WWE, at least for the production staff. Mondays and Fridays are no longer being seen as the worst days of the job. Instead, over the last several weeks, the department has started to settle into a situation where instead, while the days are extremely long and hard, everyone isn't walking in and out experiencing some sort of PTSD to follow them home the next day after Raw and SmackDown. A rumor has it that some of the staff members who were considering finding work elsewhere have decided to stay in WWE, all because Vinnie Mac's gone. And finally, Mustafa Ali, a real American? Last but not least, was Mustafa Ali going to use Hulk Hogan's Real American as his entrance theme? Well, according to Ali, that was in the cards at one point. Like our story on Chris Jericho, this one started on social media after Ali tweeted about his struggle to get over in the WWE. I've always found myself toning down who I am to be more quote-unquote marketable, and because of that I find myself trying to find myself. I'm Pakistani, I'm Indian, I'm American, I'm Muslim, I'm Mustafa Ali, and I'm going to embrace all that. Screw being marketable, I'm going to be a message. Ali is a talented wrestler who's caught some bad breaks and also struggled to get over as he requested his release over what he felt was poor use of his talents. During the Twitter conversation, someone suggested, Ali, I would love to see you come out to Hulk Hogan's Real American. Real Americans come in every shape, size and skin tone. Well, the former leader of Retribution replied, at one point, that was the plan. Do you think Mustafa Ali should use Hogan's theme? If so, should he fight for the rights of every man? Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.